Have you ever wanted to walk in the footsteps of a king? Well, on episode 3 of History Girl Travels, you can do just that at the banqueting house, where Charles I was led around 400 years ago, underneath this beautiful painting of Rubens, which depicts the divine right of kings. A slight irony considering that's the reason that he was being led to his execution. I mean, from the street it doesn't look that impressive. However, this banqueting house is the last surviving building of the Palace of Whitehall, which burnt down in 1698. It's not the old buildings that interest me though, it's the stories of the people who lived within them. And while the Rubens painting is stunning, I couldn't help but imagine what it would have been like to be Charles walking under it to his death. And who better to help me understand it than the building's curator, Dr. Alden Gregory.
It's so difficult to put yourself in his shoes. As a mortal person, he's got to have a certain amount of fear walking through this space to his death outside in the street. But I imagine he will have looked up and felt a certain amount of comfort in that painting. His sense of his own divine right was so strong that he must have imagined that, like his father, his apotheosis was about to happen and that he too would be raised up into heaven to sit alongside God.
I guess kind of then a second question that I just thought of to lead on from that. How would the Roundheads have thought about it? Why do you think it was so important maybe to them for him to be brought through here? Was there a sort of a visual message being sent by them?
Yeah, I'm sure that the reason for walking him under this painting was to encourage him to think about his own hubris and to reflect on his sense of his divine status. Now, whether or not he did, I don't know.
As much as we want to understand people who lived in all periods of history, they are in some ways unknowable. Standing here almost 400 years later, I felt like it was a cruel irony, which could be closer to how the Roundheads intended Charles to feel, but maybe instead he was comforted. Even though we'll never truly know what people felt, I still think it's worthwhile to at least attempt to put ourselves into their shoes. It's such a simple way to bring history to life. When you walk into the banqueting house, don't just see a survivor of the lost Palace of Whitehall, or a revolutionary piece of architecture which introduced Renaissance designs to England, or even the Rubens painting. Travel back through history to a cold January day in 1649 and try to imagine how you would have felt, or maybe how the everyday person would have felt being told they can't celebrate Christmas anymore. I hope you enjoyed this episode of History Girl Travels, and let me know in the comments where and when I should travel to next.